A very good morning, everyone. I'm Lehenze Siekwi, the Deputy Chief Education Specialist, Provincial Subject Coordinator for CAT and IT in the Free State Province. Fellow CAT teachers and learners, today we are dealing with the conduct on the practical examination. But before we go in detail on what we are going to do, I just want to reiterate what my colleague Mema Sillo from Harib said, which she mentioned that about the way that you are the best. By being the best, and she also mentioned that you are unique. Remember, there will never be a better time to be the best you than today. Which means by that, by preparing yourself today to become the best CAT learner. Remember, 2013 is only left with few days before we start with you sit down with your practical exam. That will be on the 8th. In that way, let me take this opportunity to wish all the CAT and IT learners in the province the best wishes and all of the best. And I know with that uniqueness that we have, you will do your best. Thank you very much. As I indicated, that we'll be dealing with conduct of the practical exam. Looking at our presentation, both of IT and CAT. As you are learners, things that you must take note of. The first thing that you must look at is very important on the 7th, that you have time to rest, so that on the 8th, you do not turn up late for the exams. And when you arrive in the exams, you must be able to read the instructions very carefully before you even attempt the question paper. On my presentation, also see the times on when you're supposed to be seated in the exams. But also include that first attempt, it's easy questions, leave difficult questions for last. Which means when you are seated in the exam center, read through the question paper, look for those questions that you are able to answer. If something goes wrong with your computer, do not hesitate to raise up your hand and call the teacher or even the invigilator. Remember, you're not expected even to call the CAT teacher, but the invigilator for an assistance. Should it be any technical problem, then you'll be allowed to call a CAT teacher. It's important not to forget, do revision from now, which means from today, as for your first day of school, up until before the exam, which means the 7th. Work through the old question papers. Work through the tips that were given by Mr. Smith, by Ms. Marcello, and Ms. Sonia van der Walt. And it's important to take note of the time, which is very, very important. One of the things that I'll make mention of in the presentation, also the folder that you're expected to create as a learner with your exam number. But you'll see how is it created or how it's been done. Work through all question papers as I make mention of. Time management. Remember, fellow learners, as you are the best and unique, it's important to manage your time. Remember, a paper is 200 marks, which constitutes 180 minutes. You are expected to answer 200 marks in 180 minutes, which means it's 3 hours by 60 minutes. It's very, very important not to waste time on questions that are easy that you are able to answer. What's expected of you after the examination? Each candidate is expected to label his or her folder using his exam number. As you can see, I have a sample here of a print screen of exam number and the folder that has been created. So you are expected to have a folder similar to this one. It's important that as a candidate, you must ensure that all the relevant files have been stored in that exam folder. And you are expected to make sure that all the files are stored in that correct folder, which means not in another learner's folder. Each candidate must ensure that all the files submitted can be able to open, which means immediately after you have saved each and every file, try to open it. When you complete with the file, open it to see whether it's able to open, and then save it. And also take note that while you are writing exam, in the intervals, keep on saving your file, in making sure that if there's any electricity intervention, then you are able to retrieve a file. And remember, no shortcuts or even hidden files must be there. Should there be hidden files or even shortcuts, remember the original file will be left on your computer, so you will be unable to mark, even to check whether what is there that you have answered. So ensure that correct files without shortcuts, not hidden, they are inside the folder. And also after completing that, make sure that you complete the information sheet. That will also assist you to see whether all the files that are inside your folder or your examination folder are also on the information sheet. Right, if you look at the information sheet that we have here, this is how the information sheet look like. Computer applications technology, and then you have question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. However, in IT, it might be about 3 questions. And also the information sheet still looks the same or similar to this one. So don't tick all the questions that you know you didn't do or didn't even complete. Tick only those questions that you have answered. Tick only the questions that you have, the questions that are marked are those that you have answered. And those are the only questions that. Now looking at the exam paper itself, this is just a screen dump of the paper 1, which is 200 marks, constitutes 3 hours, and it has all the different instructions. Make sure that when you sit down for that particular 10 minutes, you are able to read through all the instructions. Now, if you have many learners at your school, let's assume that you have 30 computers, you have about 60 learners at your school, or even less. And then you expected that you have 2 sessions. If the school have 1 session, which means only having the number of learners that are within the range of the number of computers the school is having, you are expected to be seated in the laboratory by 8:30, which means the examination will start at 9 o'clock. You will be given a 10 minutes time allocated to you to read through the paper, which means from 10 to 9, you'll be given the question paper. And I would advise you also to have the pencil with you when you go and write a practical. The main reason for you to have your pencil with you, you'll be able to tick the answers that you have completed. Because if you don't have the pencil, you'll go through answering all the questions. When you go back, you don't know which questions you didn't answer. So it is very important that when you are given the question paper, read through each and every question. Also tick those that you think are easy to be answered. Tick those that you think will be answered very quickly. And put those that are difficult for you at a later stage. And after that, all the final document will be saved by the teacher. But remember what you are expected to do, to make sure that all the files that are on your folder are all able to open and save correctly. And it only takes 3 hours. And I'll advise you again not to rush to go out of the exam room. Always take a note that how much is left with you before 12 o'clock or before the end of the examination. If it's suggested that if you have 2 sessions in a school with bigger numbers, all the learners, the session will start at about 7:30, where all the first learner sessions are expected to have been seated. Then the second session will start at 1 o'clock, which means they'll be expected to sit at 1. However, they're also going to be 10 minutes apart from the reading time and also to the start of answering the questions or the examination. For the first session, it will start at 10 to 8. And for the afternoon session, or the second session, will start at 20 past 1, whereby the exam will start of the second session at about 1:30. Both the exams constitute 3 hours, which means the learner or the candidate will be sitting for 3 hours. Not less, not more, but 3 hours. Here we look at things that you are supposed to study, especially for the CAT learners. As we have heard with Tate Smith, he did a detailed presentation on information technology. Here is just to give you a guideline on what is that you're supposed to have known now. What you already know, what you'll be writing on next week on the 8th. Take note of the checklist. Question is divided. Which usually, starting from next year, it was the last question. In the previous years of NCS, it was in question 1. Maybe it may be in question 1 this year or in question 7. We don't know. But remember, all these is what you expected to know. Saving different file types like TXT, change the file to JPEG, from Word or DOC to a text file or TXT file. Looking at the properties of the file such as the read-only, hidden, and others. Importing and exporting the file. Copying a file from Excel to Word, from Word to Excel. How to make use of a search file, maybe the time, and also file conversion. Copy or to move, even to cut, how to paste. How even to add a password on your document from people not to open it, even to create a shortcut. But don't create shortcuts where it is not necessary for you to create a shortcut. Here we talk about the shortcuts only on file management. With the word processing, we have the reference bookmarks, which means the same tip sheet or the checklist will also be available to all the schools, that the learners will be able to tick which ones they have done, which ones they have not done. And it's also going to assist the teacher to realize which topic that the learner do understand in a specific application, either Excel. We also a sheet. Make sure that you are able to tick the different topics that you understand, or even those that you have done. Should you have that you didn't do or don't understand, or even if you start you don't understand, just show your teacher, I don't know how to do one of these. Then the teacher will be able to assist. If you do not understand something, go back to the previous national papers. And I do believe that my fellow colleagues, all the teachers have given the learners previous question papers to work through. And it's important that you have any problem, like I indicated, that feel free to ask your teacher to explain to you. In order to pass practical, there's only one thing that is needed from you. You are expected to practice, and practice, and practice, and practice. Remember, practice makes perfect. Also, what is important for the computers that are working with, we have schools that have different versions of Office Suite. We have those that have Office 2003, 2007, 2010. Presently, we have schools that already have 2013. But I'll also ask and request the schools not to load new Office Suite that you know very well that you didn't teach the learners with. As for IT, make sure that the computers that the learner are going to write with, they also have a Delphi 7.1, they have Delphi 2010, or you have Delphi, Turbo Delphi. Any of the three that you know that you taught the learners with is fine. Colleagues and fellow learners, there is also a presentation for teachers that will be uploaded. I'm not going to go through with the conducting or practical examination of all the information technology, but that is specifically for the teachers. It deals with how many invigilators with how many learners. It also deals with the circulars or the policy that is being given to us by the DBE. So I do believe all the chairs do have that policy. If you don't have it now, it is also going to be uploaded so that all the teachers are having it. On that note, colleagues and fellow learners, all of the best exams and good luck. Remember, our target for IT this year, it's 85% with 55 average. And as for CAD, we are expecting 100% pass with 60 average, which means no learner is expected to fail. We don't expect to leave any learner behind. All of the best and good lucks to all my kitties and to all the CAD teachers and to all my colleagues. Thank you very much.